in Prague.
Well, now, as we come towards the end of this evening on BBC One, Michael Fish takes a late look at the weather.
Again, a good deal of cloud, a little rain from time to time for much of the day, but later on that rain is going to become ever more persistent, and eventually I think that rain will probably turn out to be fairly heavy.
What you've seen in any documentary about any band before or since is how great and wonderful everything is. It's not the truth of it. It's hell, it's hard, it's horrible, it's enjoyable to a small degree, but if you know what you're doing it for, you'll tolerate all that, because the work at the end of the day is what matters. We managed to offend all the people we were fucking fed up with. The Labour Party, who'd promised so much after the war, had done so little for the working class that the working class were confused about even themselves and didn't even understand what working class meant anymore.
Well, it's cold and miserable. No one had any jobs. You couldn't get a job. Everyone was on the dole. If you weren't born into money, then you might as well kiss your fucking life goodbye. You weren't going to amount to anything.
The germ, the seed, the Sex Pistols generated from that.
Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this son of York.
England was in a state of social upheaval. It was a very, very different time. Total social chaos. There was rioting all over the place.
You want to join the picket line?
The strikes on every kind of amenity you could think of. The TV channels would go on and off randomly. People were fed up with the old way. The old way was clearly not working.
A little bit sticking up there. You can see it in the reflection.
Ultrabright gets you noticed.
You're told at school, you're told at the job centre, you're told by everyone that you don't stand a chance. And you should just accept your lot and get on with it. That's where you're going to get social strife, hate and war and race hate. When you feel powerless, you will grab any power you can to retain some kind of self-respect.
Something on how many people have been there? Don't lay your hand on me, me son, I'll break your fucking jaw.
That man is sad because he's misinformed and he's misled and he's used.
Yes, I am a racist, and why? Who's made me a racist? This government, the Conservatives, and every stinking councillor who sticks up for the nigger. And I'll stand by my words. Because I don't like these people, never will do.
Words are my weapons. Violence is something I'm not very good at. I don't think you can explain how things happen other than sometimes they just should. And the Sex Pistols should have happened and did.
I was born in Queen Charlotte's Hospital on September the 3rd, 1955. I live with my mother and my stepfather, who I thought was my dad, in the basement. in Shepherd's Bush, and I slept at the edge of their bed, on the camp bed. My real daddy bailed when I was 2. His name was Don Jarvis. He was an amateur boxer. I definitely didn't feel wanted as a child.
Well, I was born and raised around West London, the Shepherd's Bush and Hammersmith area. It was typically working class. I met Steve because we lived just around the corner from each other.
Went to school near Paul and Steve, next to Wormer Scrubs Prison. My dad was a factory worker. My mum works at a powder puff factory.
If you were to look back at me as a school kid, you'd see a very shy, quiet little church mouse kind of character in North London. Irish immigrant parents. My mum taught me to read and write after meningitis, a serious illness I had at 7 when I was in a coma for a year. When I came out of hospital, I was completely brain wiped. All memories had been erased. Didn't remember anything at all. Just backwards in everything. It was like having to start all over again.
How does it get from the man to the egg?
I actually got put back a year because I was so stupid. And I would never pay any attention in class. I was just always daydreaming.
Steve was quite wild at 10, 11 years old. I think he was always getting into trouble then.
You should make sure that you've got the thing around the right way.
On the other hand, I've got 4 fingers and a third.
I question everything. I always have done. We were doing Shakespeare. A teacher would give me a hard time when he wouldn't tell me what I wanted to know. I'd ask outright questions, and you're not supposed to do that. You're just supposed to accept it's Shakespeare, it's great, you're not. That's not good enough for me.
Well, I would steal. I mean, that's all I knew how to do. I used to watch my parents steal at Tesco's when I was 6. And I was always getting in trouble. And so that's all there was, music. I was totally into music, Roxy music and Bowie. I thought that musicians fell from the sky at that point. I didn't think anyone could be a musician.
I was very quiet at school up until about 14 or 15 when I decided I'd had enough. I knew we were being fobbed off and basically given a shoddy third-rate version of reality. So you would not be capable of questioning your future because you didn't have one. Well, my mother loved Alice Cooper as much as I did. She had an extremely varied taste for everything from Irish folk music to T-Rex to some early Bowie. Lots of the heavy metal that was around at the time, everything. Extremely Catholic taste.
I want all you skinheads to get up on your feet. Put your presses together on your booty. Yeah.
There's a lot of black kids around Shepherd's Bush, and we used to go to their parties and listen to ska music. It sort of developed from there, really, I think, our interest in music. I think it was Wally, the famous Wally Nightingale. He said, well, let's start a band. At the time, Wally said Steve would be the singer and I would be on drums. Wally actually played guitar, and so it was up to each of us to go off and learn our instruments.
We used to rehearse and just kind of like fantasize, really. If I wanted to wear something that T-Rex was wearing the week before, I'd go down King's Road and fucking steal it. I always used to end up at Let It Rock, which was owned by Malcolm McLaren and Vivian Westwood. All the other shops you went in down at King's Road, you're walking in, you get like 10 puffs on you, asking you what you want, can I help you? So that's why we'd always end up at Vivian's, because it was like a hangout. I liked the clothes, they were different. It weren't all flares and kipper ties, you know, it was teddy boy clothes. It was a lot more rebellious, and obviously I was drawn to that.
The teddy boy thing for me was all about the idea of being a peacock and standing out in the crowd, but at the same time feeling a sense that you are part of the dispossessed, which at the end of my art school term I thought I could make a profit by.